My sister-in-law has been secretly snapping photos of my wife for years, and no one knew. We only found out because she confessed her love, or should I say lust, for her out of nowhere. Yesterday, my sister-in-law asked my wife out of the blue if she could meet her for lunch, saying that there was something she needed to talk to her about. My wife tells me about it before accepting and asks if it might have something to do with my sister. Maybe they are having problems, and she wants to discuss with another woman. I find it odd, but I tell her to go find out. So she accepts, and they meet for lunch at a place near her office the next day. That's where she tells my wife that she is in love with her. She lays it on thick. How beautiful my wife is, how she makes her feel, how she would treat her if she were hers, how it was love at first sight, blah blah blah. Mind you, this woman is married to my sister and has 2 kids. She and my wife had a friendly relationship. Our families see each other often as we are a close family. She does text my wife frequently, but there was nothing overly intimate. My sister-in-law texts and calls my mom too. So none of us thought anything of it. I want to stop really quickly and emphasize that my wife isn't cheating on me with her. My wife and I share an iPad, and I see every one of her texts from there. We are also looking at each other's phones all the time, so none of that is going on. So my wife doesn't let her finish, walks out, and calls me immediately to tell me what happened. While she is on the phone with me, the texts from her start. She didn't mean it. She thinks it's only infatuation. Blah blah blah. My wife leaves work early to come home to talk to me about this, and her phone is blowing up the entire time with calls and texts from my sister-in-law. I tell her to answer, and she puts her on speaker so I can hear. She's crying, begging not to tell my sister. Apparently, when we were together this past weekend, she thought that my wife was flirting with her and that she thought they had a moment when they were alone in our kitchen. Now my wife is a major ball buster, and I suppose I can see how that can be taken as flirting. She asks if my wife told me, to which I answer yes as I am on speaker. Then she starts begging me. This went on a while. My main question was whether she had cheated on my sister before. She said no, swore on her kids' lives. It's just my wife, she said I should understand. So I'm done listening at that point and told her I wasn't going to do anything tonight, and I would call her tomorrow. That's where we are right now, and I really don't know what to do. My wife tells me to drive over there right now and tell my sister, but the idea of wrecking my sister's family is killing me. Thinking about what it will do to my nieces makes me sick. I know the right thing to do is tell my sister, but I'm also thinking about my wife as well. It's not her fault, but there is sure to be resentment toward her from my family. Even if my sister doesn't divorce her and they reconcile, I can't see how we are ever together again like we were before, if at all. This whole episode can tear my family apart. I don't give a damn about her. She tried to destroy my family, but I do care about everyone else. I don't know what to do. Any advice will help. Update, so everyone that told me last night that I couldn't wait to tell my sister was right. A little after 12 last night, I get a call from my sister and she says that she has to tell me that my wife tried to begin an affair with her wife. So she tried to pin it on my wife. I told her that's not the case, and I will be right over. So I get on the phone, wake my mother and father, tell them what's going on, wake my younger brother, tell him. My mom and dad head to my sister's to sit with their kids, and my brother comes to our house to sit with ours, and my wife and I head over. My sister is out on the front porch with my sister-in-law when we get there. She looks beaten. She knows we have texts and voicemail. I really don't know what she was hoping to accomplish. My wife gives my sister her phone. She sees the texts, listens to the voicemails, and my sister-in-law starts sobbing before she can say anything. My sister-in-law is a firefighter, a big tough woman, so this is a scene. My sister is pretty tough. She tells her to stop it, pack a bag, and go. She can't stand to look at her. There's more begging, but she has no patience for it. So my sister walks off to talk with my wife. I see them hugging, so at least I feel like they are okay. They have actually been friends since college. I met my wife through my sister. So they are tight. The thought of this wrecking her friendship had been weighing on me. This leaves me with my sister-in-law. She's broken, so I feel more sympathy than anger. She says she's sorry. She just couldn't help it. It's not hard to fall in love with my wife, so I get it. But damn, woman. She eventually picks herself up and leaves. So we are there all night. My sister starts asking my wife why her wife would think any of this would work out. She had to have some reason to believe that my wife felt the same way. My sister says they hadn't been having problems. Everything was as it had always been. My wife is crying at this point and says there's nothing you haven't seen. She gives my sister her phone again, and they read every text ever sent over the past 2 years. Nothing there. My wife was just herself. She has a playful personality, and so does my sister-in-law, so they tease each other. She does the same to my mom and younger brother as well. The only thing she could think of was the moment in the kitchen this past weekend she referenced. They both went for the fridge at the same time, and they playfully jostled for who would get there first. She lets my wife win, but she reaches around her waist to get a beer slowly, and my wife did feel the way that she did it was a little inappropriate. She says she should have called her on it, but didn't want to make it a big thing. She feels maybe the fact that she didn't give her hope. My sister doesn't blame my wife, so at least that's good. So then my sister starts going through her MacBook to see what else she doesn't know about. She's angry and frantic at this point. She guesses the password, starts searching, and finds a lot of pictures of my wife on that computer. They went back years and always isolated on just her. We had gone as couples to the Caribbean a few years earlier. My wife wore a bikini. She usually doesn't, but since it was adults only, she did. There were probably 50 of her in that bathing suit. So she's been secretly snapping these for years. Does this now enter restraining order territory? This has taken a creepy turn. I'll update when I have more.